our ancient past may have come into contact with highly advanced technology and they didn't even try to hide it from us. Take a look at this. Why does almost every ancient civilization have these carvings of people holding handbags? Or at least something that looks like a handbag, but what are they? And this is definitely not some coincidence. I mean, these handbags are found everywhere. From the ancient Sumerians in Iraq to the Egyptians, Turkey, Italy, India, Indonesia, Mexico, South America, New Zealand, all over the world. One of the most common themes in ancient stone carvings, and we have little explanation for it. Some people say that it's a basket or a bucket of water. I mean, it could be, but like, why? And still others claiming that it's a symbol of life or passing down of knowledge to the next generation of humans. But even so, what are the chances that every single one of these cultures chose this handheld purse, a completely out of context object, as their symbol? Convergent evolution is a theory that humans tend to think and evolve in a similar manner, independent of each other, but using that as an explanation is a bit of a stretch. One thing we know for certain is this handbag was significant, as was anything that was carved into stone this often. Some of the crazier theories even say that this could have been the ancients' interpretation of some advanced technology, drawing similarities to the packs that astronauts carry, but given that's also quite a stretch. So is this symbolic of life and knowledge, or just an innocent bucket of water? The answer could be hidden deep in these following records, starting in Egypt with this hieroglyph uncovered in the Temple of Osiris. Just have a look at these and tell me if you see anything, cause I don't know, maybe I'm the one that's tripping here. But does this not look like a helicopter? Maybe a tank or a boat? An airplane? What looks to be a spaceship, all carved into stone thousands of years old? Now I already hear the Google debunkers crying this has been proven wrong, that these are just hieroglyphs that were written many times over and these shapes are just a combination of many characters. Damn, didn't know they were there when these were carved, given how 100% certain they are of it. There's so many other questionable hieroglyphs in ancient Egypt, but I'm gonna have to save those for another video. Okay, if you try and sleep tonight, then you might want to scroll now, or at least save this video for later because we about to see just how deep this rabbit hole goes. Let's take this all the way back to the caveman days with Paleolithic cave drawings and carvings, also known as petroglyphs. These ancient aboriginal cave paintings in Australia dating back to 15,500 BC, known as the Bradshaw paintings. Take a note of the big round heads here. China Lake Naval Air Weapons Center near Death Valley, California has petroglyphs dating 16,000 years. Again, tall beings with bubble-shaped heads and lines coming out. Oh, look at that. We see similar cave drawings in Ginkgo State Park near Vantage, Washington, all in the US of A. Tassili Najar is a plateau in Algeria, Africa, with these rock paintings dating to about 10,000 BC, again with these strange bobblehead creatures, almost like they're wearing helmets. Some of them even appear to be wearing gloves and full-on suits. Now, before you say, oh, that's just how they drew humans back then, well, because right beside them we have these drawings of completely normal-looking beings, so what are these creatures? Other side of the world, in Toro Muerto, Peru, petroglyphs around 12,000 years old of beings with bubbles around their heads and lines coming out. Across the ocean to Asia, cave paintings in Chhattisgarh, India, dating about 8,000 BC, feature bubble heads with lines coming out. Over to Europe, the Val Camonica prehistoric rock art in Italy, over 5,000 years old, and you tell me what you see here. A human-looking creature holding strange tools, wearing a bubble helmet with lines coming out of it. Yeah, because prehistoric humans around the world just all decided to draw the same thing, right? Then we start to come out of the Neolithic era to the oldest known civilization, the Sumerians, whose tablets include this stone carving. We have no clue what this is, but it really do look like some flying object with some force field coming out from underneath. And this other tablet looks pretty innocent until you notice this. Doesn't that kind of look like a sun shape that just so happens to have 9 balls around it? Exactly the amount of planets in our solar system. Guess they counted Pluto, so did they have advanced knowledge of our planets over 4,000 years ago? Back to the Egyptians, we see this dude in some serpent-looking craft. Could be part of their mythology, but then we see the exact same thing in the Maori of New Zealand and the Aztec and Olmecs of Central America. And now the Mayans. Oh man, what on earth is this carving? Some complex-looking contraption complete with hand controls and something up his nose? Not to mention they seem to be wearing helmets again, which sure could be decorative, but what on earth are these contraptions they're in? Is this their way of interpreting spaceships? These Mayan discs, allegedly revealed by the Mexican government, are over 1,000 years old and hidden until 2012, and I mean, just look at what's going on here. Granted, there's a lot of controversy around these, and they do seem a little fishy, but physicist Nassim Haramein gave a full presentation about it, so I don't know, you be the judge. This 3,000-year-old spaceship carving found in modern-day Turkey, but of course debunkers will admit it's anything but that. A silver-suited figurine wearing a helmet and gloves found in a Ukrainian village dating back to 600 BC. Carvings of people wearing helmets and full-on suits and gloves at the Hoysalaswara temple in India, dating back to about 900 years old, if not more. Are those spacesuits? Note that these are different from these spacesuit statues in Spain, which were actually just part of a restoration project in 1992, so don't be fooled. Even as recent as the Renaissance, tell me, what on earth are these little creatures flying in spacecraft doing in a Jesus painting from 1350? Look closely and you'll find similar flying saucers in dozens of these works of art over hundreds of years old. I mean, seriously, this list is endless. The more I looked, the more I found, but it wasn't easy. So if you're interested in trippy shit like this that you won't find on Google, to join the waitlist for my upcoming private chat. And the angels you see in religious Renaissance paintings have been around a lot longer than you think. Predating even the Bible, depictions of winged beings were very popular among Egyptian hieroglyphs. And we see the same pattern in the carvings of the Sumerians, which are even older. Some of them even going a step further and showing these beings with the head of a bird. Now, why the obsession with birds? Let me finish you off with this thought. If some primitive civilization were to come into contact with something they can't explain with their current understanding of the world, don't you think they would describe that thing in terms they can understand? So if they were to witness some sort of being coming down from the sky, the only thing they know that are airborne are birds. So naturally they would associate that being with a bird. A far-fetched yet plausible explanation of the popularity behind bird-like gods among these ancient cultures, which leads us to their creation myths. And yo, listen, pretty much every single one of the world's ancient civilizations have the same story of how we came to be. Okay, I know this was a lot, but I just couldn't believe what I found out about these stories, so I have to say this for another video. Hey, I gotta tell you, I might not be around for very long, Jimmy boy.